Thank you. Beautiful. Awesome. Well, thank you to everyone who is joining us tonight. I am your host and your MC for this evening as we kick off Zone 33 Public Image Third Thursday series. It's a mouthful, but we are very excited this year to bring you a full slate of things throughout the year, hopefully making it easier to make sure it's blocked off on your calendar, right? That's always helpful. But we're really excited to jump today with Joe being our MasterClass teacher for the day as we talk about starting your year off right. But I do want to make sure we introduce you to the whole team. So Joe, if you could switch to the next slide for us. We have 5 amazing PI people that work together. Alex, most of you know him. Alex is stuck switching planes right now. He's getting ready to retire, but he is not on the call today, but sends well wishes. Myself and Joe, you'll hear us plenty tonight, but I would like to give Billy and Ken the opportunity to say hi and introduce themselves.
Go ahead, Billy.
This is Billy, and I am in District 7670, and I'm glad you all joined us tonight.
Thank you, Billy. I'm Ken Fleeson from District 7280, and I echo Billy's comments. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and hope you enjoy the presentation.
Thanks, Billy. Thanks, Ken. So you'll see here these 5 smiling faces. We work together to make sure you guys are getting what you need and supporting both clubs and districts throughout the year. So we'll put this slide up back at the end as well in case you want to jot down anyone's information. You'll see we're all assigned districts that we work with, and we do that excitingly, but also we're all here in case you need anything as well. So don't feel free to reach out to anyone when you may need some guidance or help via email or phone number. So I mentioned earlier that we're excited this year to give you a slate of offerings. And so this is our schedule in case you haven't seen it for the 2021-2022 year. And it includes 4 master classes, of which tonight is the first one. But then we're trying something new this year called office hours. Office hours are really just your time to hop on, spend 5 minutes with us, spend the whole 60 minutes. Whatever you need that night, we're there. You have a question about Feed 10 million, we're there to talk about it. If you have a question regarding an event, or you want to talk social media campaigns, or you want to talk, how the press is driving you crazy, whatever it is, we will have someone on the call that can answer your question, provide some resources. So office hours are more informal, and our master classes are more formal training presentations. So again, that whole list can be found on the website, and it's also on social media and being shared around. So tonight we're here for our first masterclass, Start Your Year Off Right with Joe. So Joe, with that, I'm going to pass it off to you.
All right, Ashley, thank you so much. And hi, everybody that was able to join us and those that are watching later on. Wanted to start out with our goal with this series, and let me actually jump back to the series, like Ashley was saying, was to help lead the year a little bit further along in a little more organized way, and this is our start to it. But today's goal is starting your year off right. So as we turn a corner on a new Rotary year, we want to make sure that our public image and our marketing efforts are going in the right direction. So our initiative this year that we're leading off with is on your mark, get set, go. Let's go through on your mark. So you guys will see we've tried to animate some of the slides and make them cute for you, but really a lot of these themes you're going to hear over and over again. You've probably heard a lot of them with us before, but we think this is the perfect time of year to jump in, clean up everything, and make sure that your year is led off right and organized right, and it makes things a lot easier to get the things out in a timely manner. So first things first, let's review our pages. A lot of clubs, we've noticed, if you look to the upper right-hand corner, we have some of our zombie images, like our old areas of focus, as well as our old mark of excellence and our old seals. Just make sure that those are up to date. Review on your websites, your pages. Also look for old sites that may not be affiliated with you anymore. If you don't have the manpower or woman power to run those sites, or you've lost the keys, try to hunt them down. Oftentimes we have some folks that have trouble kind of regaining access to sites. If you have trouble with that, let us Noah will try to get you sorted out with that. Also check who has access, so you can assign multiple folks to help you out, make sure they're all current and that they're engaged and all that. Next, remember the master brand, make sure that we're having it displayed appropriately and we're not breaking the brand, right? We don't want to have other things in there. And if you have questions about that, there's tons and tons on that. Use your brand identity guidelines. Identify the gaps. So if it's like, man, we really have a lot of good newsletter stuff, we just don't have somebody on the Facebook, figure out where your gaps are so you can find those right people in the clubs or that you can reach out to. Next, look at your public image shares, right? Help your clubs do the same, right? If you are a district public image share, right, make sure that your page is set first and your pages and your public image for your clubs are set first before you roll out there. Go through the educational databases. One thing that I feel from a public image standpoint, I think Ashley would agree with me on this along with my other chairs, is we have so much content now between our district, our zone, all the other zones out there. The Learning Center has become a much more robust resource for you, and especially in the public image side. So along with a lot of the softwares that we're using, a lot of folks are using Canva and our DACDB systems and other ones that are being built out now there have a lot more trainings out there for them. So take use of them, and there's a lot of good stuff out there, along with all the good content that a lot of the folks in this room, I'll say, have been putting out. So, all right. This is a fun one, and we see this oftentimes getting confused, but the Rotary Mark of Excellence in the seal is to be used externally when we're facing outward. We see people putting a lot of these annual themes on their websites or their Facebook pages. This is more for like internal Rotary use, and that does get a little bit confusing, and we understand that. Ashley, how else would you add on to that? Because I know we had spoke about that a couple of times at our meetings, and we do understand that it is a little confusing, but when would you use the, annual theme, Ashley?
Yeah, so I think of the annual theme as kind of a Rotarian motivator, right? So it's kind of the theme of the year. It's a way to rally the Rotarians around it and jumpstart some stuff. And you're going to see it more on like your district conference material and things like that. But again, we already know that it's really hard to explain what Rotary is, besides the fact that a lot of clubs, unfortunately, aren't using the new Mark of Excellence and are still using some old things. And so again, we're trying not to confuse the public. So that's the easiest way. What's the simplest thing for the public to always see and remember? It's the Rotary wheel, the Rotary Mark of Excellence. So I really say use your internal thing really as more of a club motivator. If you have any internal pages that you want to use it for, absolutely. But when you're thinking external, so your website, your social media pages, business cards, all those types of things, stick with the standards, stick with the master brand. It's easier. Plus, you don't have to update it as much. So it's simpler too.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, we're on to getting set. So, and by the way, when we get into this, we know that we throw a lot at you in this. Take it bit by bit and come back and reference this. We know that we're throwing a lot at you, and you may not be able to do all of this stuff, but take it in bites as we were moving through all this. So next for our get set is building your content calendar. There is a content calendar that you can go reference at the zone website above, but we'll show you a little bit of reference to that, kind of go through how you want to view that. Next, we want to go looking at each club and or district's major events and dates and deadlines, right? And looking at the lead back toward that and saying, okay, what invitations, save the dates, sponsor flyers, etc., we're going to need, and then backdating that to make sure that everything gets laid out. And a lot of the folks that run these systems, they're already in place. It's just adding that public image component to it, and it really helps bring systematizing to it. And then, like we had mentioned, and we know that this is going to be difficult, but you'd be surprised what you get when you ask. If you say, hey, we need somebody that can fill this role. And a lot of times, like we're seeing in all the clubs and all the meetings, it's members leave because they don't get tasks. So if you go to them with specific tasks and things that need done, I need you to write the newsletter. People are very responsive to that because it's bite-sized pieces, right? Moving on to the second phase of getting set is our new people of action images. Everybody's been getting out and mingling again, hopefully, and enjoying post-COVID world. So there should be plenty of Rotary opportunities with pickups and community days and all that stuff. So remake some people of action campaigns, images that are, it's a great plug and play system out there, and I'm sure most of you folks have seen the links. Get your press list. So most of our small communities have a list of folks that you need to contact when it's time to get a presser out or get the word out. Oftentimes this includes the what's going on pages in your town. There might be 7 or 8 of them. Some of them you might not want to be posted to, but if you have an event going on, it's traditional media as well as that virtual media. And the press is who does your town follow? In my town, it's our local radio station, the local newspaper, and all the what's going on pages on Facebook. And that's how the word gets around in Washington County. So along with like horseback riders, but we save that for rebellions and crazy stuff that happens. So anyway, as we build out that schedule of the post, get your drafts ready. And in August and September, you already have these drafts made. And we recommend Canva, I think. I mean, we're all pretty good with Canva. If you need a plug and play system to kind of build this stuff, if you need templates, a lot of Rotarians are cross sharing, but we try to do well with our content and, do as we do, but we understand, there's we just ask that you keep those brands clean, and that's really the main thing we ask. But the fonts, Ashley, what is it? There's we have a brand kit built in Canva that I think we can start getting those coding and all that stuff out, so you don't have to think about all the colors and fonts and all that stuff. So
Yep, absolutely. And that's a perfect thing. I know sometimes we throw out names of systems that people may not know, but it's a perfect thing to come back on an office hour day and say, hey, I started using Canva, but I have no idea how to build out my brand guide in Canva. Can you show me? That's the kind of stuff we easily can do on our office hours. So feel free to reach out outside of those too, but just know that's a perfect thing that we're happy to show each third Thursday.
right. Good idea. Good add-on. Thank you. So on to the content calendar. This is an example, and this one's just to get you started when you go into the file that we referenced back at the Zone website. And like I said, all these, both ours and Zone 34, and we like our friends at Zone 34. They're kick butt PI team as well. And they pump out a bunch of good content, and they have some really good tutorials as well and some resources. But this is a content calendar you can find on the Zone site. And this is just an example. So just walking through it, and I know it's a little bit hard to read, but you can see, hey, this is the theme of the month. What's the meeting schedule going to be? Who's the member spotlight? Just to give you some ideas of how to maybe throw in your stuff, get it pre-made, and just have that consistency. Because when you bring that consistency and that professionalism, it makes your club look great. So it's just some ideas for you to get you started. All right. Ashley, you let me know. I'm going to keep punching through. If you feel moved, you're here to go. But she built most of this presentation for me. Let's be clear. She built most of this for me. So anyway, so all right, we're ready to go. It's time to get going. Get ready to share your Rotary story, right? I always love to challenge members and be like, hey, and I won't do it to her, but hey, Ashley, hey, tell me your Rotary story. And it's, back when I was a young financial planner over 15 years ago, which is interesting for me to say that, getting older and the longer in the tooth, but like we always used to do role play, and it was like, hey, I'm worried about retirement, and we would just talk about it at random, and that's how you get good at having good casual conversation, and that should be part of our Rotary vernacular. It's just like, cool, tell me a Rotary story. And we're getting there. And I think that that's fair to ask a Rotarian that, especially one that's been around a while. And you would be surprised these stories you hear from these people, like why they do it, what it's meant to them in their life. And that's part of why you love Rotary, especially as us young folks getting into it. Have your camera on you, right? So I'm known to carry around a camera or two from time to time in my adventures, but let's remember that we want people of action photos. And that doesn't mean you're creeping around and, jumping out of a bush at people, which does help a lot. But if you're, not so inclined, just making sure that you're getting a good sideways photo of somebody in action of doing something, you can line them up and shoot them. But we want people doing stuff. Remember, kids from the back, we don't want kids from the front, or we need extra signatures and all that stuff. We don't want to worry about that. And remember that the editing is a lot easier now to edit video, upload a GIF, I think. I don't know. I'm like in between. So I really don't even know how to say some of these technical terms. But, you know, I think that that's something that is very helpful, and videos are great. And if you, you know, I think that a lot of Rotary clubs, and we had a video challenge last year, and we're thinking about that this year. If you guys have feedback for us, let us know, and we'll maybe bring that back. But I think that there's, you know, a lot of warrant to having good videography and videos done, but it doesn't take a lot. Just a good little clip of you doing what you guys do best goes a long way. So you guys doing what you do best, having fun, that goes a long way. So, okay. And make sure everybody else is doing this. So just remind people about how to get the info to the people that can get it onto the Facebooks, the websites, the newsletters. And these district newsletters are awesome. Like, I love these district newsletters. People put so much time into them, and we're not even trying to share them around town, which is, you know, it's like we got all this great content and we want to just share it with everybody, and we just got to get it out there. So anyway, let's look at the phase 2 of Go. We're going to challenge everybody, challenge our fellow Rotarians, because the people on this call, let's be honest, they're the public image leaders. You're the folks that are driving public image on the Eastern Seaboard, and we appreciate you doing that. And for that, what we're hoping that you do is this year is challenge your fellow Rotarians to share one social media post this month, club project, activity, cleanup day, whatever you're doing this summer, having a great meeting, having outside meetings, trying to figure out where you're going to have meetings now that COVID's over. Whatever you're doing, post something about it and share it around. And then second, tell their Rotary story to one friend or colleague who isn't a Rotarian. And you know what I love about Rotarians is they are excellent at forcing a conversation about Rotary to happen in the most random of situations, but I know you can all do that, and challenge your friends and Rotarians to do that. That'll be our first challenge before the next MasterClass. So, and remember that you're not alone, right? We're all here to support you. Ashley had a wonderful idea of these office hours, and there's tons of great resources all up and down Rotary for you. But you got team behind you, and this thing is coming back. It is coming back. This is a piece that Ashley did before. Ashley, would you like to go through? I think you do this so much better than I mean, and she talks about how to share our Rotary story best. Ma'am.
Yeah, so of course, some people tend to get a little bit nervous when they have to talk about Rotary. And before I walk through this, I want to give everyone just an example of sometimes when you think what you're doing isn't working, right? So I post about Rotary. I post about a lot of organizations that I'm involved with on my own social media page. It's really just how my family keeps up with me. But, you know, 2 weeks ago, I posted something about Rotary and said, you know, if you're interested in Rotary, let me know. I'm happy to help you find a club that fits you. And sure enough, that night I get a Facebook message from someone who lives 6 counties away from me that I'm now helping find a club outside of my district. But I'm able to give her, I know what she's looking for. I'm able to find some clubs, talk to some people, and then marry her up. And so again, public image is not all about membership, but in my opinion, it is about catching the Rotary bug. And that can happen in a lot of different ways. And telling our Rotary story and really just putting it out there is one of them. And so sometimes it can feel really overwhelming. So we decided to break it down for you into 6 simple steps, right? That's it. So first is really just to recognize the opportunity. If you know someone who's service oriented, maybe they just don't understand what Rotary is, or they still have a really old school view of what Rotary is. So don't be shy, look for the signals that someone's service oriented. And if they are, jump on the opportunity, right? You don't have to be overbearing, but definitely jump on the opportunity. 2, avoid the jargon. Sometimes we tend to start using our acronyms and talk about like when we meet and how we meet and like all these things that, to be honest, it's important information, but it's really the sub information we should be sharing. We should really be sharing the mission and the impact of Rotary, because that's why we're all involved. And so again, keep it simple and then focus on why we do what we do instead of, again, the structure and actually what we do. In most cases, you're going to keep it real and keep it simple and keep it local, right? So we can talk about things that are happening. We can talk about polio. People tend to really gravitate towards that, and that's a very important part of Rotary. However, that's typically not what brings people into Rotary in most cases. So talk about your local projects. Did you know that, the Lunches at a Landfill program really started at Lincoln Elementary? We're saving 400 milk cartons a day from going into the landfill and repurposing them to a food bank in town, right? Answer personal experiences. Oh, my first Rotary project was X, or I'm able to get my son involved. Don't you just love when kids are involved in service? And talk about the friendships, the networking, and really where Rotary is heading. You can share your story, right? Share how you ended up in Rotary. And I tend to do that often for me, just because I think it's really important, because I never set out to join Rotary. I didn't even know what Rotary was until about 4 months before I joined. Always find the passion connection, figure out what they may be interested in. That way you can find those local and real projects to help you. And then lastly, just make sure you follow up. They're not going to say yes in that first moment, but just allow yourself the time to go back to them and say, hey, we have a speaker coming up at our meeting, and I know you're still thinking about it, or we have a service project coming up. Would you like to tag along? So again, if you're trying to get your fellow Rotarians to share their story and they're like, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to talk to people about it, this is a simple graphic that can just help you and help your fellow Rotarians understand. It's not hard, it's not complicated. Speak from your heart, give yourself grace, and it'll all be okay. Thanks, Joe.
Well said, ma'am. And we got to actually got to share this at a Rotaract conference, and these kids were like, "Wowee!" And this is how you speak to people, right? It's just simple, keep it crisp, keep it where it's got to go. So, all right. So now it's your guys' turn. So we're I don't think we need to break everybody out, but we wanted to hear from you guys as we finish planning out our year for you. What are you excited about this Rotary year? What are you stressed out about this Rotary year? And maybe what can this team help to support you guys? And I am super excited that my man Dan is here from my wild, wonderful West Virginia district, because them are my people down there. Like, that's how we roll. So I'm loving that we're getting West Virginia involved. So anyway, what do you guys have on your radar? What are you thinking? What are you seeing? And we'll open it kind of up here. So.
Well, I'll say something since you called me out there, Joe. and Jack and I are both DGEs, so I think we're both in the learning mode, and I think that's great. I think it's an indicator of the importance we see in the public image function and what it can do for us. I would tell you that in speaking to my district, we have a great public image individual in Amanda Ream, but she's a single person. And I would tell you, I was moved, I'm speaking very frankly here, I was moved by the boots on the ground session that you guys did about the importance of having a Rotary public image team. And I would say in our district, our public image team is dispersed. They aren't connected. And that's a priority for me. We need to get them connected, because you can see the indicators of one individual doing the website, another individual doing the Facebook posts, another individual doing the newsletter or not doing the newsletter recently. And we need to link those communication mechanisms and get some consistency. So that's frankly a priority for me. And your work, I'm sorry more aren't here today to benefit from what you're doing, but your work was key in changing my thinking and how I need to engage in the public image side. So lots to do, but frankly, I'm excited about the opportunity.
Well, and we're excited to work with that team, and Amanda is a rock star. In fact, like, we're scouting her for some of our teams, but
yeah,
she's a rock star. But I do want to rally. We are all trying to rally our teams together, right? Because remember, every Rotarian is a public image person.
you got it.
Every single one of us has a right and a duty to uphold this brand, if you want to call it that, because that's what this is all about. Because what I don't like, and this is as somebody that's put 10 years into Rotary Plus, I don't like showing up to a place and it looking ratty with the Rotary symbol. None of us, you show up right into a town and all the service club signs are kind of out of disarray. Like, I want those Lions Club signs and the Kiwanis and especially the Rotary signs to be shined up, looking good, and these clubs represented, because they do good stuff. So I appreciate what you're saying, but Appalachia's coming back, buddy. We're on our way back.
Yep, you got it.
Especially with the service work. So what other comments can we hear? I see Tiffany made it home. She looks like she was speeding with the top down, but that's okay.
No, I had to finish my dinner too. So.
You're good. No,
But I listened all the way home on my phone. So
cool.
yeah.
We'll open it up. What else is out there?
Jamie shared that she's just excited that in-person events and meetings are happening again, right? And I think that's a key thing. I will say, if you guys are like me, I feel a little out of practice now that we're going back to in-person things, right? That I'm like, oh my gosh, I should have took a picture of that, or we didn't do X. And so it's a little bit, it's going to take us a while to get back into our routine. So it's also a perfect time to change your routine. So if there's public image efforts that you may not have been doing in your club or your district previously, no one's going to remember that because, they've been, pretty preoccupied with other stuff. So it's all about just like taking the time now to, again, it's that get set, right? It's that get set phase. What can you do now to get yourself rolling? It's July. People are taking vacations. The new presidents and DGs are getting themselves situated, but this is the perfect time for public image to just be raring to go and get yourself situated and back in now that in-person events are back. Because yes, I am very excited about that too.
I have to have a follow-on comment and then I'll let Jack talk. I said boots on the ground. I'm showing my military background. I meant the boot camp session, which you guys all knew, but I'm not sure everybody understood that.
I have to tell you, from my observations with this, in my work world, we represent 430 different businesses and we market and promote for them. So we're a marketing firm and I'm the president of a tourism bureau, but it's all about consistent messaging. And the key to this is that we use consistent messaging, not just the gentleman who's doing your website, but at every phase of this has to be the same messaging. That's how you're going to get people to remember what you want. And so if in fact that we're going to do a campaign, and frankly, it should be spelled out, a full campaign for the entire year, because you know what's going to go on. We all understand how the ebbs and flows of our clubs work, and we should be able to put a plan together to understand that and be able to have that consistent messaging through all the clubs in our districts and be consistent. Now, granted, you're going to do different projects but you can tailor those into your plan. And those things are very, very important. If you're talking about membership, if you're talking about any of our avenues of service, whatever they are, we should have a plan and execute that plan so that we continue to have messaging that's consistent. And I see that, we haven't done that really well. And I think it's really important because no matter when they hear it, it will be the same. And that's important for all of us. So I look at this and I'm excited about the opportunities of getting to make some calls, and making some things happen in my district when I get my shot next year. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think that on the marketing end, it could be consistent from all of our clubs and all of our members. That's how we're going to get new members in, because we'll be consistent.
Jack and Dan, I'm excited to see you both here, but I believe we only have one other person besides Tiffany who is a public image chair. So help us figure out how we can encourage those district public image chairs to get here so we can help them. Us putting these on, as awesome as Joe is, I feel like we're whistling to the choir.
I totally agree with you. I was kind of shocked when I looked at how many people were on the call.
I'm not a district public image chair.
People don't understand the importance of this. It is crucial that they understand the power of the marketing and the press piece. All this stuff it's everything. If you want to grow and you want consistency and you want people to join, this is what you have to do. It's not about coming to a meeting. We all know that. It is about serving your community. And this is going to get them to do that. We have to be able to talk that language.
I think to your earlier comment about, coming out of this funk we've been in for the last year and a half, that's part of it too. I think we've got a little complacent with the fact we're all working in Zoom meetings and so forth and so on. And we need to get out there and rejuvenate, if you will, how we tell our story and how we talk outside, both inside and outside. So yeah, I think there's a need to kind of reignite the messaging. And so, yeah, we need to work on that too, and get our districts involved in that. So
Yeah.
Jenny's been very patient. Jenny, what did you have to share?
I just wanted to say that I am both excited and stressed about the same things. As Billy said, I am just now becoming our district chair. We really haven't had a district team to work on PR before. And I've done the newsletter for the district for the past 4 or 5 years, plus my own club. So I really haven't had a lot of time to do like the social media and all of that stuff. So I'm excited that I'm actually being able to put together a team. I think I have something like 12 people who have shown an interest in it. And I've talked to several of them and gotten to see where they want to concentrate. So it's knowing I don't have to do the website and the newsletter and it's really exciting for me that I can just do the overall and tell people what to do. But it's also a stressor because I've always worked alone. So I have to learn how to be a team leader.
Jenny, can I ask you a question? Would you find it easier for you if they were monthly themes and some of those materials were made up ahead of time that were given to you to get your district and your clubs focused each month on a different program or a project?
Yes, that's part of what I want to do, but I think, yeah, it would be very helpful to have that at the zone level also.
I totally agree.
Well, I would say that Rotary already has monthly themes.
They do.
We
Yeah.
start to say, well, we're going to add ours on top of it. It muddies the water.
Sure.
So on that calendar that Joe was sharing, it has the theme at the top. So look 2 months out and say, okay, I've got to be looking for action photos about youth so that I can highlight that in May or whatever month that is. So we've got that calendar out there with
Billy, do you think it would be easier if, let's say the zone, they know the 12 months, we all get that information and we know, but wouldn't it be consistent if there was that theme built out already that we can add to when we want to bring it to our district?
Yeah,
I think that would be a consistent messaging throughout the zone, and we'd all put our own districts into that as well. But we'd have those front pages or messaging, messages that have to get out there. They'd be consistent from all of us, and I just think that could make it so much easier on our districts. It would make it so much easier on our clubs. And again, the goal here is to be consistent and get those themes out ahead of time, not the last week of the month, and making sure that those things are out there and in front of everybody all the time. And I think we have an opportunity to do that.
So
I totally agree.
when Ken sends out the newsletter, the picture that should go on your Facebook page for the theme for next month, would that be helpful to you? And then we'll post it on Zone 33, and then each of you can follow through as well. And then the clubs could even put that out there.
Mm-hmm.
As Ashley was saying, the clubs really.
Billy, wouldn't you like a press release that was already pre-written and you could tailor it to your district?
Yeah, that'd be great. And there are some.
Those are the kind of things we should do consistently, so that they're prepared for us. Not that it's it goes to a schedule, and the schedule can be prepared, and the zone can be prepared to make sure all of our districts are sending those same kind of messages, and of course the things we do in our own district.
Joe, are you taking notes?
Gathering and dissemination of content and information, man. That's what us millennials are good at. So
That way we're not reinventing the wheel for each
well, I'd be curious what the best way. We'll talk about the best way to disseminate this that's palatable, because remember that we're dealing with a very broad technological, like their tech literacy levels are very broad. So we got to figure out the best way to serve it up in 3 or 4 ways. I don't know. Well, I appreciate your comments there, Jack. Expect a call. So, okay.
I think it's important that I
Hey,
worked
Jenny.
for an industry where they would give you posts that you were allowed to put out, and you could tweak them if you wanted, but everything was very cookie cutter. And then I would go on LinkedIn or I would go on Facebook and I would see 85 people with the same thing. And it was like that. I just ignored it, right? After the first time you ignore it. So I think we have to find a happy medium, right? Giving more tools and options for people to choose, but not it be so prescriptive that it's not unique to your area and what your club is doing, because what my club and district does is very different than what Joe's club and district does. And so I think just finding maybe 3 or 4 templates for social media, a handful of templates, because we could make some pretty graphics for, it's new member month, like come join us. But in reality, I'd rather see people, right? And so I think it's a balance of finding a way to, and that's kind of why tonight we split it up into phase 1 and phase 2, because we know some clubs, they're only ready and districts are only ready for phase 1, right? They're overwhelmed as it is, but we know some people are ready for phase 2 and just want to go all in. And so I think it's just with everything, right? It's finding that happy medium, but also giving variety based on what the club and district or that point they're at right now. So I think we could definitely find options to make sure there's variation and customization, which are 2 things that are very important.
Absolutely.
Yep.
None of us have the same abilities, so we all need that. Absolutely.
Coming up is World Polio Day in October. So if we could write a generic news, a PR
Press release.
newspaper, thank you for the newspapers with the facts in it, so that I as a district person doesn't have to go out there and find out, what are this, how many cases are, there's a generic one, and then you can use what you need of that, put in your local newspaper.
Absolutely.
I'm happy to share mine. I update mine every year, but I'm happy to share my World Polio Day press release, which like I said, I update it with new data each year, but I use the same one. We get front page of the newspaper with the picture of them coming to our event every year. But they run exactly what I send them because it's AP style, and that's what they
great.
need so they can cut and paste. But
Can you imagine how easy this is going to be? We have 2 cases in the world.
I'll give it to you Sunday, Billy.
And I know that Tiffany has a CART news release and all kinds of different ones. And when we tell you there's one out there, you can say, oh, well, my community didn't care about that. And forget it. As Ashley says, just use what you need.
Well, polio, World Polio Day is a perfect example. So, I run a Pints for Polio event in my town because I'm a beer lover, right? And that's already getting ready to go out. Like I have branding for that. People don't need to make up a new set for that. We could put that out there. We could put a press release out there. I have a proclamation for World Polio Day. I happen to work for a city government,
too.
so I write proclamation, good whereases all the time. And so I have one like no one else, but it's really cool to get your local mayor or county executive or whatever your branch of government is to do it. It just gives you, maybe that works better in your town than your newspaper. Who knows, right? So I think that's a perfect example of how we can give people 5 ways to do outreach regarding World Polio Day. Choose what works best for you, whether that's one thing or all 5 things. I think that's a great idea.
I do too. I think that's perfect.
So while we did Ashley, you had such a good idea, Ashley, for the MasterClass. Look how many great ideas are already getting made out of this. Wonderful. And we're consolidating our efforts, resources, and talents. Great job, Ashley. All right.
And if I could add to Jack's question and request is, the monthly newsletter from the PI team comes out on the 3rd Tuesday of every month. And the lead article on that, or the lead piece on that, is the monthly theme from RI. So all you need to do is take that, it comes out in an email fashion. All you need to do is just take that, copy it and paste it and put it right into your newsletter.
Yeah.
And does that go to your district PI chairs? Is that who that goes to, Ken?
It goes to the PI chairs and the DG chain.
Now, do we have it to where anybody can sign up for that if they want
Yeah.
to? Yeah.
Yeah, and then Tiffany, if you want a copy of it, just let me know.
Sure. I mean, you can add me to that. That's an excellent idea, Joe, because like if you think about the RI newsletters, I've signed up for probably 6 or 8 of them that I get every month. The service one, the polio one, the whatever. There's certain ones I don't get, but but the fact that I can sign up for them, even though I'm not the chair of that in my district, I get stuff and I forward it to people all the time and they go, wow, where'd you get this? I'm like, you just sign up for the newsletter. But that's an excellent idea. The zone page for public image, I will say you guys might want to take a look at it because I couldn't, that's the reason it took me so long to log in is I could find the email on my phone, but for some reason I couldn't find it when I logged on my computer, and I went to the zone page and it's got these dates for 2020. So I know it's one more thing you don't want on your list, but
It's buried. No,
I understand.
it's buried off the zone.
But that's
page.
why
We
it took me
understand.
so long. I looked for a long time and then I literally typed in every one of those phone numbers that was on my phone so that I mean, one of those numbers for Zoom so that I could get in, but there had to be an
Thank you.
easier way, but
Appreciate that.
yeah, no, I mean, and I'm not complaining. I'm because
No,
I know
no,
how
you're
hard
good.
it is. So I'm just giving you an FYI, but
I bookmark all the zone PI pages because the 34 one's great. They have a lot of stuff that they'll
Mhm.
post and consolidate for you. And if you notice, that's kind of, I think that's how it's working. Is your
well, I'll
zone is
also
there to
say that I
consolidate.
really like the fact that you guys are doing the same night every month this year. I think that's a really good idea. I think that it will grow. I'm sorry you only have 9 people this year, including yourselves. I mean, this month, but I think that it will continue to grow. I mean, our district's PI chair did send it out to all of our club chairs. And which was I mean, that person's not here, but he did send it out to everybody, which is a positive, and that's growth from, years past for us. So we're
Well, you
getting there,
guys
right?
you guys can help us because we're recording it and it's just content,
Oh
right?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
here
yeah, delete
forever,
that
right?
part that I just said then, sorry.
No, you're
Oops.
good. No, you're good. We don't have it.
Oopsie.
No, you're good. But I mean, it will be available. So do us a favor if this was useful. Make sure you spread the love. Tell everybody check these out. Come to the office hours. I think there will be some awesome brainstorming going on in those sessions. And I guess we'll see everybody there. Ashley, how would you close us out? Lady of ceremonies. I'm not going there, buddy. I'm not
I
going
really just want to be able to MC like an official event. So I'm just going to keep doing small events until someone actually, it's on my
I'll-
bucket list and
I'll
it's
book
going to
you for the
happen one
Whiskey
day.
Rebellion
Okay.
Festival.
It's
I'll
going to
book you
happen.
for my festival.
No. It's like, don't give that lady a mic. But no, as Joe said, this is just the first of our 4 master classes. So again, we hope you can join us for our office hours, but really that's for you or anyone else that may just either want to brainstorm with us or has a problem or wants to talk through a public image issue. There's always something weird going on in every district is different, so that we can go out and breakout rooms on those. We're really just going to be chatting informally. But our next big masterclass is in October, and that's going to be our masterclass instructor. That time is going to be Miss Billy Black doing DACDB is easy, because she's going to show us how to use DACDB to do so many more cool things than any of us even can imagine and save ourselves time. So get excited for that in October. We're very excited for that. So again, just so you guys know, if you attend all 4 master classes, you get a special surprise at the end of the year. So really, you guys are the only ones that are going to be up for that. Yeah, get excited. We love branded Rotary stuff. So
Now
it
the
will
prizes
not
can
be
get bigger.
dinky. It'll be awesome.
Now the prizes can be bigger.
I think we
It
like
is.
prizes too.
So thank you guys very much. Again, please bookmark this website because again, we don't control all the pages on the zone site, but this is the one we do control. So this is our home base. This is where you'll get linked to our toolkits and all the templates and documents we have. So bookmark that. Joe, if you can go to the last slide, which is our contact information. Again, we're assigned by district, but we're all here to help everyone. So whatever we can do for you, we are happy to do so. So again, thank you for being here. Thank you for your commitment to Rotary and the public image efforts that we're doing. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
So
all.
much.